just those $1,400 checks for most Americans.
We're talking about tax credits for people with school-aged children, new subsidies for people purchasing health care under Obamacare. This is the kind of bill that, if it does what it promises to do, would make a real dent in child poverty in this country. The tax credits may be a little bit harder to understand for people. It's not the same as just getting a check. Now, that's supposed to be in place for just 1 year, but Democrats are going to want to make it permanent. And that's the kind of thing that once it's law, it's going to be really hard to take away in future years.
Tomorrow, members of the Biden cabinet will hit the road promoting what's in the stimulus bill. Some healthcare workers say they are concerned about COVID complacency with so many places lifting restrictions. Dr. Christina Probst is a pediatrician in Houston.
We are doing our part. And so it is really a painful experience to feel that our elected officials don't trust us, don't trust our expertise, and are not listening to the science.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott just lifted all mask mandates and reopened businesses in the state at 100%. Only about 10% of the population in Texas has been vaccinated so far. Some people are holding out for the vaccine that they want, but doctors say it's not a good idea.
Absolutely don't wait for, I want vaccine A if you're offered vaccine B. Take vaccine B.
Supplies are still limited, they say, so if you can get an appointment, you should take it. So far, 5 jurors have been chosen in the murder trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis cop accused of killing George Floyd. In Japan, today marks 10 years since the earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster that left 18,000 people dead. You're listening to ABC News.
Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
Have you heard? A secret hoard of 1882 Morgan silver dollars has been found. These gorgeous 1882 old Morgans are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 160 of these coins are available. Coin experts are calling the Great Southern Treasury Hoard an incredible opportunity. Just call govmint.com at 1-800-509-6468, and you're guaranteed a mint condition 1882 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O Mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. These 139-year-old coins were found in sealed bags that have been untouched since 1882. That makes these unopened bags of Morgan silver dollars extremely rare. To learn more, call 1-800-509-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $10 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-509-6468 now to secure your 1882 old Morgan silver dollar coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-509-6468.
Britain's Prince William on his first public outing since the interview with his brother and Meghan Markle, saying that the royals are, quote, very much not a racist family. Harry and Meghan blaming bigotry for a lack of support. New details are emerging about former President Trump's push to overturn election results in Georgia. The Wall Street Journal obtaining audio of a call involving Trump and Frances Watson, chief investigator in the Georgia Secretary of State's office. He tells her she would be praised if the election results were changed in his favor. Here's ABC's Alex Brochet.
1 week after the call with Watson, Trump demanded the Secretary of State find the exact number of votes he needed to win.
I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Officials have now opened a criminal investigation into the phone calls and Trump's effort to overturn the results. The investigators will now include Fulton County DA Fannie Willis, said to be an expert in racketeering laws.
Progress in Jackson, Mississippi, weeks after a winter storm knocked out water in the city. The boil water advisory now lifted for thousands of people who get water from wells. About 43,000 customers still have to boil their water. And concerns about COVID shots given in Virginia. A spokesman for grocery giant Kroger, says there was a mix-up at a vaccination location, left technicians giving shots that had no vaccine in the syringes. All of those who were affected have been told to come back in. This is ABC News.
Ready to create your own income with your own home-based business where there's no such thing as getting laid off? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Get the facts now. GoHereNext.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
You know, folks are saying once you've used a Massey Ferguson, you won't ever want another tractor. They're tough, versatile, and dependable. And now with the change of season special at NC Tractor and Farm Supply, you'll be wise to get your special deal. Our tractors have been running in families for generations. Ask about the Phil Sheehan special going on right now. NC Tractor, 299 Railroad Avenue, Rutherfordton. Call 288-0395. It's certainly beginning to be spring and gardening season and farming season, so go see my buddy Phil Sheehan at NC Tractor and find the tractor that fits your needs. They're available today.
Good morning and happy Thursday. We're seeing some cloud cover in spots this morning, but more sunshine expected this afternoon. Temperatures warm as well, with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight tonight, staying mild as we start right around 50 Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Stray shower possible later in the evening as our next cold front moves in. We're staying warm for Friday, but we're much cooler for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
We have another great getting up morning here in the Foothills weather forecast. 51 degrees right now toward the weekend. Looks like the rain's coming back to us on possibly Saturday night. Early Sunday morning, there is a 20% chance of those showers developing. That increases to 60% on Monday. So bigger rain chance on Monday. And then clearing out of here again for Tuesday night. So it's still time to enjoy the beautiful outdoors. Maybe go to the rails trails and do some walking or bicycling this weekend. Sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? My. 6 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's check these death announcements that I have in house this morning. Barbara Andover Airwood, 60, passed away March 9th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. A funeral will be held Saturday, March 13th at Fellowship Holiness Church in Spindale at 2 o'clock with Reverend Chad Sisk officiating. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to the service. Online condolences may be made at crowmortuary.com for Barbara Andover Airwood. Herman Young Brackett, 93, formerly of Cliffside, died March 8th at Fairhaven, Forestier, where he was a resident, native of Rutherford County. A service from the graveside will be held 1:30 today at the Cliffside Cemetery with Mike Elgin officiating. The family will speak to those attending following the service at the cemetery. The wearing of masks and social distancing is requested. Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory serving the family of Herman Young Brackett. Norris Penson, 74, of Bostic, passed away March 8th. A memorial service will be conducted at 10 o'clock Friday, March 22nd at Cedar Grove Fellowship. Reverend Adam Velez will officiate. The Rutherford County Honor Guard will provide military rites on the grounds of the church following the service. Visitation will be from 4 until 7 this evening at Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service is serving the family of Norris Penson of Bostic. Those are the death announcements we have in house this morning. For the complete information on these and any other that may come in this morning, you can hear those at 11:35 today, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report here on the Most Information for the Foothills, WCAB in Rutherfordton, serving the foothills of the Carolinas and serving the foothills with the best in sports, like the Tar Heels. They had a good night last night over Notre Dame, 101-59. 101 for the Tar Heels, 59 for Notre Dame. Now, the Tar Heels will be playing again this evening, I believe. I believe that's a setup. Been a little complicated, but I think it is tonight. Stay tuned, and we'll have all that information for you throughout today and the time of the tournament. We'll be carrying all of the Tar Heel games, but not the other games. So when Tar Heels play, we'll be right there with those games. High school football Friday night. Our game of the week is Chase at Shelby. That's the 6:30 countdown. 7 o'clock play-by-play broadcast. And then the other games will be East at Burns, RS Central at East Gaston, and Thomas Jefferson at Mount Island Charter. A lot of football action coming up this Friday night. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty good for it. Stand by. The Rush Limbaugh Morning Update is next, and we'll get into the phone calls and find out what's been going on around the neighborhood. It's all right here.
My friends, the Washington Post has discovered how unfair life in America is right in their own backyard. Washington, D.C. is prospering. Population in the district has been growing by leaps and bounds. Some neighborhoods are becoming more affluent by the day. As affluent neighborhoods grow, so do the businesses that support them, like supermarkets. New markets and upscale neighborhoods are targeting foodies with all sorts of exotic items. But over the past 10 years, while supermarkets have multiplied in rich neighborhoods, poor Washington, D.C. neighborhoods have not fared as well. The Post reports that in the poorest neighborhoods, the number of supermarkets have plummeted. A long-standing grocery gap has grown worse. How bad is it? Well, in poor neighborhoods, there are 50,000 people for every grocery store. In the rich areas, there are 10,000 people per store. The rich have more grocery options than the poor. Rich people live in neighborhoods that cater to foodies. Poor people live with food insecurities. Supermarkets in poor neighborhoods have another disadvantage. They've got to make 30% more profit than the rich competitors to offset the cost of shoplifting, security, and high staff turnover. Oh, yeah, that might explain why poor neighborhoods have fewer stores, but that's beside the point. You have to stick to the narrative, which is life in America is unfair because the rich have stolen everything the poor had.
This year marks 20 years since America's darkest day, 9/11. It also marks the start of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Born from the tragedy, Tunnel to Towers supports the courageous men and women in this country who are willing to die for you and me. The foundation brings hope to heroes and their families when they need it most. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays off their mortgage to lift the financial burden and bring their family stability. For catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, Tunnel to Towers builds mortgage-free smart homes, enabling our most severely injured heroes to live more independent lives. 20 years ago, we vowed to never forget. But that commitment requires action. Take action now. Do good in honor of America's heroes who deserve that and so much more. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. Help America to never forget. Thank you.
WCAB, the music's on us.
Gilbert Talks Taxes is on the air every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. Get the latest from the IRS in North Carolina. That's Gilbert Talks Taxes every Saturday from 8 to 9, only on WCAB.
Being a teenager is tough. There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do North Carolina's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Yeah! Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the North Carolina Athletic Directors Association.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
It was early 1877. The Civil War had been over for more than 10 years, but blacks still didn't have the freedom they had hoped for. Tenant farming had replaced the plantation system. Because of the price of rented land and supplies, the black farmers seldom broke even at the end of the year. So they started looking for somewhere else to live. Prior to the Civil War, Kansas had voted to change from slave to a free state. Although some blacks had moved to Kansas, the first serious attempt to establish a black colony was on March 5, 1877, when Benjamin Singleton led a group from Tennessee to Baxter Springs. Cherokee County Colony, Singleton Colony, Hill City, and Nicodemus Town followed. Most failed because of poor leadership, the transient nature of the immigrants, and having only marginal land available for settling. It's estimated that between 15 and 20,000 blacks migrated to Kansas in just a 2-month period. Realizing the loss of cheap labor, Southern landowners tried to stop the migration with intimidation and attacks against those involved in the colored exodus. The biggest obstacle was that blacks had little or no money. Many had only the possessions they could carry on their backs. However, they were assisted with relief efforts along the route from churches and private citizens. By 1879, word got back to the South that the Kansas immigrants were facing tremendous problems, and as fast as it started, the Kansas migration stopped. You've just heard another story from Chronicle of the Old West. This is Dakota Livesay.
Thank you very much, Dakota Livesay, here on WCAB, exclusively heard several times throughout today. Then on Saturdays, we have the long version, the hour-long version of Chronicles of the Old West. 16 now past 7 o'clock. Let's find out what's been going on around our neighborhood. And Sheriff Chris Francis is on the phone with me right now to give us that update. Sheriff, good morning. I hope you're doing well today.
I am well. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. What's been happening over there?
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded to 80 calls for service. There have been 16 arrests processed at County Jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 138. Among those arrested, Brian K. Phillips, 47-year-old male of Chesney, South Carolina, was charged with failure to appear, received a $500 unsecured bond. Travis Matthew Smith, 28-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with trespass and received a $5,000 secured bond. Joshua Kane Tony, 36-year-old male of Far City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $15,000 secured bond. DeMont O'Shawn Garrison, 28-year-old male of Far City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $100 bond. Robert Philip Harden, 47-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with failure to comply with child support, received a $6,000.69 cash bond. Kenneth Ronald Dixon, 41-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with failure to appear and received a $10,000 secured bond. Brian Nathaniel Robinson, 34-year-old male, most recently from Polk County, claimed to be homeless at this time, was charged with resisting direct delay, injury to property, and possession of drug paraphernalia, received a $4,000 secured bond. Tricia Sue Eaton, 50-year-old female of Far City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 unsecured bond. Among our incidents, we had a breaking, entering, and larceny to a storage unit at Clark Mountain Drive in Lake Lure. There were multiple leather jackets, hiking packs, and military duffel bags, as well as dishes taken out of that storage unit. We had a breaking, entering, and larceny to an outbuilding on Pea Ridge Road in Boston, where a lock had been pried off a hatch, and an air compressor was taken from inside that at $150. We had a damaged property call on Buffalo Creek Road in Lake Lure, where someone had gotten a hold of a 1997 Honda four-wheeler and taking apart, appeared to be trying to get to the engine, but left the parts there and damaged it in doing so. And Jim, that's what we had to report today.
All right, always something interesting going on out there in the world. I appreciate your guys being available, and we thank them every time I see one of them. I tell them thank them for their services.
You have no idea what they get through on day to day, call to call. It's amazing.
And they never know what they're getting when they go out either, do they?
They certainly do not.
Yeah. Sheriff, thank you so very much for being with us. You have a safe day and a good weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. 19 past 7.
It's great to get discounts on beautiful furniture, and thanks to the Recliner Center, you can get 10% off everything in the store. 10% off lift chairs, 10% off sofas, 10% off recliners, 10% off bedding. Angela has changed her hours to suit your schedule. The Recliner Center is now open Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 4, and Saturdays, 9 to 2. And of course, you can make an appointment by calling 828-395-3562. Come by soon and pick out the recliner, sofa, or lift chair that best suits you and get 10% off your purchase. Come by and see Angela Cooper at the Recliner Center today. The Recliner Center is on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Amanda's on the phone now to give us a report from 911 Communications Center. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, in the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications Center has processed 355 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 41 for the emergency medical services, 21 for rescue, 80 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 68 for Forest City, 2 for Lake Lure, 51 for Rutherfordton, and 69 for Spindale. Ellenboro Fire Department had a motor vehicle crash. Green Hill had a motor vehicle crash. Lake Lure had a brush fire assisted by Fairfield, and Sdo had a brush fire, and that is all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You'll have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks. McCurry-Dake Motors has been providing the stylish Buick for families for generations. Come browse a new selection and you'll find the car that everybody's talking about. The family-owned dealership is deeply entrenched in our community. They understand the needs of the customers and will work with them to find the perfect car, truck, or crossover for their lives. Experience the new Buick at McCurry-Dake Motors. Take a look around the website to learn more about everything offered at McCurry-Dake Motors, 1740 U.S. Highway 74A, Forest City. Now we're going over to the Sdo Fire District and talk with Ruby Taylor. Find out if the fire department over there had any activity in the past 24 hours or so. And here's Ruby now. Ruby, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, the fire department had one call, and that was to a brush fire. And on my birthday calendar, I got Noah Ezel, Connie Grant, and Nicholas Sisk having birthdays, and hope they have a nice day. Signs are in the feet today and going to the feet tomorrow, and that's all I've got.
All right, Ruby, you have a good day over there.
You too, and bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
All right, we're heading up to the mountains now, up to Fairfield Mountains and Fairfield Fire District and Bills Creek Fire District. And Gary Wilson's back with us this morning. Gary, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. How you doing?
Doing fine. We missed you yesterday.
Yeah, I'd rather been on the radio doing what I was doing yesterday, but had to go to the dental office about 7:30 yesterday morning.
Oh, my. That's no fun.
I can always put that off. But it's over with now.
Good, good.
And everything been starting to get a little busy now in the dry weather and getting some brush fires around the area. We had one here yesterday up off of Buffalo Creek Road and had assistance from Bills Creek and Lake Lure there. The small one, but they can spread fast in this kind of weather. And then the day before that, Bills Creek had one. We had one the day before that, so they're starting to get a little more frequent now. And just have to caution everybody: just if you don't need to burn it right now, leave it alone till it rains and get some water on the ground. Because maybe we'll get some Sunday night, Monday. I hope so.
These are basically grass fires you've had in the past few days.
Yeah, small brush fires, grass fires, and people burning leaves, one thing and another, and
well, they can sure
wind gets up pretty quick in the afternoon sometimes.
They can sure get out of hand.
They can. It's not a high risk right now, but it's what the Forestry Service calls a moderate. But still, even with that, it can be dangerous sometimes. So, exercise caution if you're out there. Stay with it and keep a garden hose handy, and if you have to burn it. And we're about 40 degrees up here this morning. Off to a nice cool start, but not near as chilly as it has been. So it may get up close to 80 today, they said. So
yeah, pretty high, yeah. Up in, at least upper 70s.
Yeah, that's pretty warm. Well, but I'll take it. I love this kind of weather.
So do I.
And that's about all we got to report up here today.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.
All right, you have a good one.
All right, bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Hello, Bob Hodge. How are you doing this morning?
We're doing just fine on this beautiful Thursday morning.
How can one not feel good with weather like this, right?
That's right there, yeah. I tell you, we live in a pretty good place there. If you don't like the weather one day, you just wait around. It'll change there.
That's
so.
right.
Oh, I like it up here where you have 4 seasons there, so.
So do I, Bob. I like that.
Yeah, so Tim, we're doing just fine up here this morning with the fire department. It's been quiet overnight. Hadn't had any fire calls. Want to say happy birthday to Travis Maccabee this morning. And other than that, Jim, things going along real good so far this morning.
Good. Well,
So,
keep up the good work up there, Bob. You're doing a good job keeping it straight.
well, thank you, Jim, and you have a good day.
Thanks. I'll do that. See you now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bob Hodge reporting out of the Sdo Fire District, and you can hear Bob most afternoons, too, with the afternoon report with Kevin Pleasant. As we all know, last year was certainly one of the most trying for about everyone, but especially for anyone in the medical field or associated with assisted living in senior nursing facilities. The difficulty in getting specialty physicians, cardiologists, pulmonologists, behavioral health specialists, others, has always been an issue, but now, coupled with the COVID-19, the problem has even intensified. Remote MD has developed programs in which they have been able to drastically reduce the amount of unnecessary medical evacuation from deep sea gas and oil rigs by keeping workers on site and treating them via telemedicine worldwide for over 15 years. It's a proven factor that works, and it's kept them on the job without having to rescue them out to go to a hospital somewhere. Now, that same modern telemedicine program is available here for us. With Remote MD's program, residents avoid the risk of infection from other patients when visiting a doctor's office or hospital. Plus, the patient gets to stay in the comfort of their own space in your facility, reducing the stress and anxiety of going to the ER. In addition, Remote MD reduces the number of unnecessary trips to the hospital, saves you money, keeps caregivers and family members connected, and is available right now here for us. To learn more, log on today to remotemd.net. That's remotemd.net. Learn all about it, and you'll find out it could be just what you're looking for. remotemd.ed. .net. Now let's get over to Cherry Mountain Fire District. Sue Price, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing well, I hope?
I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
Well, good. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is indeed.
I'm enjoying these days. But we just take what comes. There'll be some rain coming up, and we've been needing that, too, because of the fires. So, and I reckon Cherry Mountain was quiet overnight, so I didn't have any calls, and that's a good thing. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries on my church calendar or my personal calendar today. Fairview's got a birthday for Joy Van Dyke, so Joy's going to have a good day today. And First Broad's got a birthday for Scott Brackett. So not too many celebrating, but we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day, and they've got a beautiful day for it. And in my announcements, on March the 15th, the Golden Valley Community Club will be having a business meeting at 7 o'clock. There'll be no meals. This is just a business meeting, getting together to decide if we're going to open back up for our regular meetings. And then the Duncans Creek Presbyterian Church will host the Piney Mountain Boys on Sunday, March 28th, at the 11 o'clock worship service. And so far, that's the only announcements I have. It's just a quiet and calm move this way, looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Tim.
Those boys are good. Those boys are good.
Yeah, they are.
I love to hear them. So you have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
29 after the hour now. As of Wednesday, there were 5 new coronavirus cases for a revised cumulative total of 6,810. So new cases continuing to decline here in Rutherford County. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services also reported the county's 14-day positivity rate as 3.4%. So there you go. The Rutherford Health Department is not conducting any tests this week with available resources directed toward vaccinations. And it's good to hear our cases are continuing to decline here in Rutherford County. It's 7:30.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
All right, now 7:31. Let's head over toward Bostic to the Drop-In Family Mart. And Jessica's on the phone, and we'll interrupt her doing her cooking breakfast and see what she can tell us today. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. You sound like you're busy.
Yes, sir. We sure are. That's for sure. Everybody come on down and see us this morning. We got bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. If you don't want it on a biscuit, we can sure enough put it on white bread or toast or a bun, whatever you want. We got breakfast pizza this morning. You can get a hunk for $3.19, or you can get 2 hunks for $6.19, or you can get a whole for $10.99. We are going to have our ribs today, half a rack of ribs, barbecue ribs for $6.99. Or I'm going to cook some macaroni and cheese and baked potato casserole, and you can have a side of the macaroni and cheese and the baked potato casserole and a half a rack of ribs for $10.99.
My goodness.
And them ribs are really good. And also keep in mind, tomorrow's Friday, so we are going to have Fish Friday. Fish, hush puppies, your choice of onion rings, or if you want fries. If you want slaw, we'll have slaw, baked beans, and shrimp. You can choose between shrimp and fish. If you want the shrimp, we can cook you the shrimp. If you want the fish, we'll cook you the fish. But the plate's $6.99, and we've been selling like crazy. That fish is really, really good. So everybody come and see us.
And you still need some help over there, huh?
Yes, sir, we sure do. As of right now, our hours have changed until further notice, until we can get some help in here. If you're looking for a job, you can come by and see us and get an application, or you also can just go by the office and fill one out. We are looking for someone that is willing to work night shift, say from 1:30 to 9 o'clock every night, at least 4 to 5 days a week. Pay is based on experience, so just keep that in mind. So everybody, if you're looking for a job, please, we are looking for somebody good.
All right.
Yes. So our hours have changed just a little bit until further notice. So Monday through Friday, it will be 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then Saturday it'll be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then Sunday we will be closed until we can find somebody that's wanting to come work for us.
Yeah.
We're good people.
I believe that. And you cook good. You have good food.
Yes.
Well, I hope there are folks that need a job and could work and be dedicated. And I don't want to hear anybody complain about there's no jobs around here when there are plenty of jobs, and you've got one of them.
Yes, they are. I mean, and if we're not hiring, we have several drop-ins in the county, and they all are hiring. So just keep that in mind too. If you don't want to come work for us, that's fine. You can go work for another store.
Yeah, there you
go.
So
there's jobs out there.
I appreciate you very much. You keep up the good work over there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
That's the Drop-In Family Mart there at Bostic, the Bostic Sunshine Highway, right across from the post office.
Good morning. As we are experiencing the impact of COVID-19, let's stop predicting and let's prepare. Life changes, and then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called the unexpected. So when it comes to your financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm your Edward Jones financial advisor, Andrew Tisdale. A job loss, a change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call me today at 828-287-9197. Our office is located at Food Line Plaza in Rutherton. This is Edward Jones, making sense of investing, and a member of the SIPC. Bye.
This is Gilbert. If you owe the IRS past due taxes, don't call those toll-free national numbers. Local, affordable help is right here in Rutherford County. Stop garnishments, levies, and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300.
Now it's 7:36. Let's check it up in Shingle Hollow Fire District and talk with Tina White and see what's been going on. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's been all quiet up here in Shingle Hollow, except for church services. That's going on, so we enjoy that on Wednesday evening. It's 47 degrees on the front porch. Shingle Hollow Fire Department didn't have any calls. Green Hill helped with a car accident, and there were no injuries, so we're glad of that. And the Garden Club, they're meeting this evening at 6 p.m. at Shingle Hollow Fire Department, and then again Saturday morning at 10 at Shingle Hollow Fire Department. I want everybody to come out. Everybody's welcome. And for birthdays today, we have Miss Susan Brown. We hope she has a wonderful birthday.
All right, that sounds like you about wrapped it up.
You're having a good day, Jim?
I'm having a great day, yeah. Met someone yesterday that's related to you.
Who was that?
I think she said maybe, did she say your sister-in-law maybe? Works over at the bridal shop there at the Tri-City Mall.
Darlene White?
Yeah, I believe it was. She worked there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is my husband's aunt, so she's my aunt-in-law.
Okay.
Yep, she's a wonderful lady.
She goes to church there at Shingle at Piney Knob, I believe she said.
She does.
Yep, good. Yeah, we had a chance to meet. She was behind her mask, and it was difficult to recognize who people are behind masks, but she told me who she was, and I said, great, it's good to see you.
She really knows how to use that needle. She is a wonderful seamstress.
Yeah, I believe that. Well, you doing okay?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, thanks for being on with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Everybody stay safe.
Thanks, Tina.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Christina White there in Shingle Hollow with our report this morning.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers of Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. They continue to strive hard to keep that honor. Come on in and see for yourself. Take a look at the all-new design 2021 F-150 or reserve an all-new 2021 Bronco coming in the spring. Don't miss out on the automobile you've been wanting at the Sisk Family Ford price. Take your pick while the picking is good on Oak Street in Forest City.
Don't forget high school football Friday night. Chase at Shelby is our game of the week, and that'll be a countdown at 6:30. Kickoff at 7, and we'll have all that action for you right here, plus the other games and that we'll be monitoring will be East at Burns and RS at East Gaston and TJ at Mount Island Charter. And Mr. Friday Night will be with us a little after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to talk about last night's games, plus the games expected this week. It's all happening exclusively here on 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB. Now here's Brenda Kelly with a report from Union Mills. Welcome back, Brenda.
Well, thank you. Glad to be back.
We missed you.
Well, I'm glad you did. I missed not being there, but I was listening to you.
Well, good. Everything work out okay?
Yeah.
Good.
My doctor told me I was in excellent health.
Good. That's good news.
I don't like the little bit of weight I gained from September till now, but I'm going to try to get it off.
Well,
so that's the main thing.
I know the feeling.
it's hard. As we get older, it's so hard to get rid of it, ain't it?
It is. It is.
Well, you may not know that because you're not old
I'm
yet.
still young. Yeah, that's right. I
That's
like the way you talk, Brenda. Well, it is hard to get it off. Mine started back last year when I was on that 2-week sabbatical with the COVID, and then my grandkids were staying with us for a while till they found their own place. And they love to eat, and they love snacks and cookies, and I joined right in with them. So I put it on pretty quick. Now they moved out to their own place, and I still have to deal with my fat.
I know what you mean. It's something else. But I'm going to try to start back walking. I walked some yesterday, and I'm going to walk today. It's beautiful days to walk.
Yes.
So that's good. But we just have to work a little bit every day at it.
I'm going to start doing a little more pushbacks.
Yeah.
Pushbacks for the table.
Yeah. I was out yesterday. Let's see. I went to the doctor, and I had lunch at Gregory's. I thought, well, I'm just going to have me I had a small chef salad, and I couldn't even eat it all. I brought the rest of it home. And
Yeah,
ate it.
they got great salads.
Yeah, good. And boy, that place was just a hopping.
Good food over there.
Yeah. But we hope everybody's having a good day on this tremendous Thursday. The sun's up bright and shining, and we're just glad to be out and up and about. And I stayed up and watched that Avery Robertson on, what was it, The Voice. I heard you mention something yesterday about you might get to do an interview with him.
Yes, that's in the making.
Well, good. That's good.
They're finalizing his schedule, and with our schedule, we'll try our best to. I don't know if he's at home or if he's wherever that show is produced, but I'd like to get him in the studio. But if not, we'll do it by phone.
Yeah, I know he sang at a benefit we had a couple of years ago at church. Somebody's house had burnt, and we done a benefit, and he sang. He's good.
Yeah.
And he was good the other night when he sang that song.
He was.
And how about them Hills?
How about them Hills?
Oh, they showed out, didn't they?
Did you stay up and watch that game?
No, I didn't stay up and watch it. I was tired. I had an early appointment yesterday morning. I didn't sleep the night before, but I got up this morning and I turned WCAB on just to see if we were still in the running or not. So I'm proud of them.
You were nice. It was nice for you to hear they were leading as bad as they were leading, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
101 to 59. That's pretty much embarrassment for Notre Dame.
Well, it's good for the Tar Heels.
It is.
Maybe when they come out with their stuff next year, they won't be at the bottom of the. Well, they wasn't even in the top 25, were they?
I don't believe they were.
No. Them or Duke, either one.
That's right. They both have been in the bottom this year.
Yeah, so maybe they'll rise up to the top. Well, let's see. I don't have any birthdays, any anniversaries. I don't know of nothing going on, and I've got 40 degrees on the front porch. So I guess you better go check on Luther Sweet Thing Gilligan.
All right, Brenda, thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, catch you later.
Bye-bye. That's the Cali Report from Upstate Union Mills. Now, whatever team you pull for, everybody loves to work in the garden a little bit. I think everybody does. Most people do. Dig in the garden a little bit, plant out some seeds and some flowers, those kind of things. Well, Washburn Store now has all their planting seeds of all kinds, and it's time for you to head up there and get yours. Pick out what you like. Pick as many as you like. They keep a good selection, and folks turn to Washburn Store every year. Many people do buy them there every year because they have such a great selection. So why don't you go by Washburn Store and see what you can pick up, maybe do something different, maybe add another vegetable and add another flower this year to your garden. Do something, maybe what you've been doing, maybe add another one. It's time to plant, and Washburn Store is ready for you. They also have work gloves. You can pick up some of these little tools you dig around your weeds with. Check it all out at Washburn Store, our historically significant store there in the heart of Washburn community, the Bostic Sunshine Highway. Let's head over to Lutherville in Ellenboro, talk with Mr. Gilligan. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great there, having a good time.
Well, you're looking good this
Watching
morning.
the sun. I do look good. I may not be good looking, but I look good.
Well, I'm glad you're up and at 'em this morning.
Hey, I was out here at 7 o'clock this morning. going. I'm over on Hillbrook Drive at 7 o'clock. But things are quiet this morning, not a whole lot happening. Everybody just getting this gas and heading on out to work, trying to get another day in. The city fire department only had one call, and they had an accident report over on Salem Church Road. We went from one end of it to the other and never did find the accident, so they just come on back to the station. And everything was quiet the rest of the night. So nothing else happening down here, Jim. You have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Luther. I look forward to it. Have a good one now.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye. Well, it's time for birthdays for this 11th day of March. March the 11th. If you were born on this date, were married on this date, let us celebrate with you. Call Todd now at 287-3356, and we'll give you a big shout-out this morning for your birthday on this Thursday morning. 287-3356.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
That's really something to crow about. It's the Daylight Donuts from Granny B's in Spindale. Get yours today. While they're fresh, they're good, they're delicious. It's Daylight Donuts. It's something to crow about. Happy birthday to Paul West. He's 92 over in Gilkey. Paul West, happy birthday. Becky and Kenneth Knipe celebrating 54 years. Congratulations to them. Kaya Kincaid of Spindale is 13. I believe I'm pronouncing that name right. Kaya Kincaid of Spindale is 13 today. And Tiffany Smith up in Golden Valley is having a birthday today. She's a teacher over at RS Middle School. We'll wish her a happy birthday. Anybody else, Tom? That's it. So happy birthday to everybody. Have many, many more happy returns.
Winston Churchill, in the wake of Hitler's attack upon England during World War II, said, "Will the bombing attacks of last autumn and winter come again? We have proceeded on the assumption that they will. We ask no favors of the enemy. Prepare yourselves then, my friends and comrades, in the Battle of London. We shall never turn from our purpose, however somber the road, however grievous the cost, because we know that out of this time of trial and tribulation will be born a new freedom and glory for all mankind." My friend Jim Keller writes, "Worry and fear are the arch enemies of the confident faith in a powerful God. We must choose to bring our thoughts and emotions under control and stay away from 'what are we going to do?' panic attacks. Like Jesus taught us, we either look to God in faith and prayer, or we are prone to faint and give up. There are few other alternatives. Without trust in our Creator, we will eventually melt in fear. Human substitutes for God will always eventually fail. As I look out on the future, the following words from the Bible seem very appropriate. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living. Scripts of these programs are sold in book form by calling toll-free 1-888-333-KEYS.
The most music's on us, WCAB.
And part may come from other funding partners as well. Funding could be spread out over 2 fiscal years. Scott Weber said at the earliest, I think the project could be completed this fall. More news from here and there coming up in just a moment. If you need help in getting your books ready for taxes, you need IE Accounting and Tax Service.
Now, how do you spell that?
ARYEE. IE Accounting and Tax Service is more than someone who fills out forms for you. They can very likely save you money. IE Accounting and Tax Service can help set up your bookkeeping at a lower price than anybody in the USA, guaranteed. Teach QuickBooks, handle your payroll, help with tax planning and implementation to recognize full value. IE Accounting and Tax Service can help if you're in trouble with the IRS or if you're unhappy with the way your tax returns were handled last year. Make a call to IE Accounting and Tax Service today. And you know what else?
I know you spell IEARYEE.
That's right, and they are forensic specialists. They specialize in handling fraud cases. From the simplest tax form to the more complex issues, IE Accounting and Tax Service could be the best decision you could make.
And that phone number is 828-395-1777, Main Street in Spindale.
17 past 8 o'clock. Beautiful, great getting up morning here on this Thursday morning. The Carolina Journal News Service is reporting that parents and school leaders describe consequences of remote-only learning. We've had a lot of discussions and talks about, because of COVID, how many students had to stay at home and learn by remote and Zooming and all those, and how that might be affecting them academically as well as socially. Well, parents in 14 North Carolina public school districts would have the option of sending their children to full-time, in-person instruction under a local bill approved by the North Carolina House K-12 Education Committee Tuesday, March the 9th. The measure, House Bill 90, is designed as an end-run around Governor Roy Cooper's veto of Senate Bill 37, which would have given all school districts in the state the option of fully reopening under Plan A. Many school districts continue to operate under Plan B, a hybrid approach combining part-time remote with part-time in-person. Republican lawmakers are now planning to introduce a series of local bills which are not subject to a gubernatorial veto to achieve the same goal, even as lawmakers and the governor negotiate on a compromise plan. These children are suffering, said the bill's primary sponsor, Representative Pat McElrath, Republican from Carteret County. We're seeing more drug addiction, more kids in trouble, more kids failing. The future and ours depend on them getting a good education, end quote. Well, House Bill 90 would apply to school districts in Beaufort, Brunswick, Burke, Carteret, Cleveland, Craven, Cranville, Haywood, Jones, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Onslow, and Yancey counties. And there's one there being pitched for students in Rutherford County as well. Lawmakers heard from local school officials who pleaded for the option to return to in-classroom instruction. So they're working on getting kids back in classroom as quickly as possible, as best they can. Meanwhile, sports update coming up here in a few minutes, right after we have the sheriff's report. In just a moment, right after we have this. You know, there is a lot of misleading information about Medicaid eligibility. The Arledge Law Firm would like for you to know the truth. For instance, if you need a nursing home, Medicaid will take your home. That's not true. Another one is, if you transfer assets, you have to wait 60 months to qualify. Again, not true. And this big one, if you're already in a nursing home, it's too late to protect your assets. Not true, not true, not true. Call attorneys Gerald N. Willis, Kent Baldwin, or Martin Gerard at the Arledge Law Firm and get free consultation and learn the truth. It's more likely than you think that you may qualify for nursing home care and not lose everything you own. It's worth a call to Arledge Law Firm at 287-3338, located on East Court Street in Rutherfordton. Sheriff Chris Francis was on with us earlier this morning during the 7 o'clock hour to report the news from his department. We recorded it for broadcast at this time. Now here is Sheriff Chris Francis.
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded to 80 calls for service. There have been 16 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 138. Among those arrested, Brian K. Phillips, 47-year-old male of Chesney, South Carolina, was charged with failure to appear, received a $500 unsecured bond. Travis Matthew Smith, 28-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with trespass and received a $5,000 secured bond. Joshua Kane Tony, 36-year-old male of Far City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $15,000 secured bond. DeMont O'Shawn Garrison, 28-year-old male of Forest City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $100 bond. Robert Philip Harden, 47-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with failure to comply with child support, received a $6,000.69 cash bond. Kenneth Ronald Dixon, 41-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with failure to appear and received a $10,000 secured bond. Brian Nathaniel Robinson, 34-year-old male, most recently from Polk County, claimed to be homeless at this time, was charged with resisting drug delay, injury to property, and possession of drug paraphernalia, received a $4,000 secured bond. Tricia Sue Eaton, 50-year-old female of Forest City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 unsecured bond. Among our incidents, we had a breaking, entering, and larceny to a storage unit at Clark Mountain Drive in Lake Lure. There were multiple leather jackets, hiking packs, and military duffel bags, as well as dishes taken out of that storage unit. We had a breaking, entering, and larceny to an outbuilding on Pea Ridge Road in Boston, where a lock had been pried off a hatch, and an air compressor was taken from inside that at $150. We had a damaged property call on Buffalo Creek Road in Lake Lure, where someone had gotten a hold of a 1997 Honda four-wheeler and taking apart, appeared to be trying to get to the engine, but left the parts there and damaged it in doing so. And Jim, that's what we had to report today.
Thank you, Sheriff Chris Francis, for that report. Now, big event coming up tonight. Tar Heels will be playing again tonight because they won big time last night over Notre Dame, 101-59. That was some kind of wipeout last night, and they will be going at it again this evening. I'm still a little bit confused about the time frame and who they're playing with things as they are, but Lou will have all the information when she gets here this morning, and we'll program that. We do know that Tar Heels will be playing tonight. And Friday night, we do know there high school football action in our neighborhood, and our game of the week is Chase at Shelby. 6:30 countdown, 7 o'clock kickoff, and Jay Coombs will have all that play-by-play action. Other games, East at Burns, RS at East Gaston, Thomas Jefferson at Mountain Island Charter. And they'll keep you abreast of all those scores throughout the week as well, throughout Friday night. Virginia Tech and Tar Heels at 9 o'clock, Todd tells us. I was thinking it was at 9 o'clock, but I wasn't sure about that. Virginia Tech, Tar Heels play tonight at 9 o'clock, and you'll have all that action right here. I know Kevin loves those late-night games to engineer that board right here, so we'll have him back in here this evening to keep that going for you. And if they win tonight, they'll play Friday night, I guess, the way that works out. And who knows, they may win this whole thing. A lot of Tar Heel fans that say, yay, Tar Heels. A lot of Duke fans say, boo, 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 boo. That's it. Sports update, speaking of, is up next. 9:05 this morning is My Great America with Jim and Butch on WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM, and www.wcab59.com.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. Action from day 2 of the ACC tournament, and we start with the late game. That was a rout. Armando Bacot, freshman Dayron Sharp, and Walker Kessler each had a double-double, and North Carolina dominated inside in a 101-59 crushing of Notre Dame.
No doubt in my mind it was a factor that Notre Dame played last night. Our big guys hurt them early inside, and then after that we didn't shoot it very well until the second half, and in the second half we're very lucky to catch them where they played last night, but I loved the way all of our big guys played.
The 6-seeded Heels will play 3-seed Virginia Tech in the quarterfinals tonight. Duke is going against Florida State this evening after the Blue Devils logged another impressive win Wednesday. Freshman Mark Williams set season highs with 23 points and 19 rebounds for his second double-double. Matthew Hurt added 20 points, and the 10-seeded Blue Devils eased past 7-seeded Louisville 70-56.
We got off to a great start, but our defense was pretty good the whole night, because even when they made the run, 6 of those points were transition threes. But our half-court defense was excellent the entire night.
Buddy Boeheim scored 27 points with a season-high 6 of Syracuse's 14 three-pointers, and the Orange beat NC State 89-68 to advance to today's quarterfinals. They will take on number 16 Virginia. Isaiah Wong had 20 points for the second straight game, and Miami became the first 13th seed to ever reach the quarterfinals of the tournament by upsetting fifth-seeded Clemson 67-64. Miami is drawn Georgia Tech today. The NFL salary cap will be $182.5 million per team for the upcoming season. That is a drop of 8% from 2020. The league's loss of revenues due to the pandemic have caused the first decrease in the cap since 2011. It followed an uncapped season. Free agency begins next Wednesday, though the legal tampering period starts Monday. This is NCN Sports.
If you work in the construction industry, good communication plays an important role in helping to prevent the spread of COVID-19 on your worksite. Always follow and share your company's safety procedures. Anytime you have questions or if you see safety protocol not being followed, speak up. Together, we can help prevent the spread of COVID-19. To learn more about COVID-19 best safety practices, visit nCUnitedAgainstTheVirus.org. That's nCUnitedAgainstTheVirus.org. Construction. We're built for safety.
Hi, Darcy the Cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. It's time to start getting your flower and vegetable gardens off to a great start with Black Cow. Prepare new plant beds with a 1.5-inch layer of Black Cow in the area and then mix it in with the soil 6 inches deep. Black Cow is organic. Pick up the bright yellow bag and get growing.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
The NBA resumed play following the All-Star break with 2 games last night. Luka Doncic had a triple-double, and the Mavericks closed on a 17-4 run to beat the Spurs 115-104. And Jonas Valanciunas scored a season-high 29 points, matched his season best with 20 boards to lead Memphis in a 127-112 win over the Wizards. The Charlotte Hornets entered the All-Star break 1 game under 500, but a half game behind first-place Miami in the Southeast Division. They will begin their second-half push for a division title and a playoff berth tonight, with a 7 o'clock tip at home against Detroit. On the ice, the Carolina Hurricanes return to action tonight at home at PNC Arena in Raleigh. They're taking on the Nashville Predators, who they beat 2 nights ago. Carolina looking for their 7th consecutive victory. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. This afternoon, we'll see another sunny sky just like the past few days. Highs today warm in the mid to upper 70s. Partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight tonight, staying mild as we start right around 50 Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures back in the 70s once again. A cold front, though, arrives Friday evening, bringing a few small showers possible. Cooler temperatures expected for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Zach Mallock in the Weather Center.
Love to be able to report beautiful weather, beautiful sunshiny weather, because I know it makes you happy. Most of you are happy when sun shines. We may love rain, I don't know, but it's nice to have nice weather like we're having these next few days. We'll get a little rain coming up, and it'll be going away, and sunshiny skies, sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. 53 degrees currently. Some other local news: 9 people arrested after a month-long drug investigation in western North Carolina. 9 people have been arrested after about a 7-month-long investigation into drug distribution in western North Carolina. Authorities said the arrests were made between Thursday, March 4th and Monday, March 8th, as part of a multi-jurisdictional operation primarily conducted by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, Asheville Police Department, Henderson County Sheriff's Office, and the Drug Enforcement Administration, with numerous other agencies assisting throughout. The investigation centered on people distributing fentanyl in western North Carolina. The primary targets of the investigation, Theodos LaRae Hammond and Anthony Ellison, allegedly conspired to distribute kilogram quantities of fentanyl in Nashville and surrounding areas and utilized a large network of associates to do so. During search warrants conducted in Buncombe County and Mecklenburg County March 4th, investigators seized about 5.49 kilograms of suspected fentanyl, 13 firearms, more than $800,000 in U.S. currency, numerous high-end vehicles, and jewelry. Authorities said investigators have seized more than 19 kilograms of fentanyl as a result of this investigation. Good job. You guys get them off the street, put them away. It could be your grandchild, my grandchild, that they're influencing. So get them, all the drug dealers off the street as soon as possible and put them away for a long time to come. Well, I know this is unpopular theory in some quarters, but legally and biologically and biblically, there are two genders. He made male and he made female, according to the good book. I know this is unpopular in some quarters, but if you are in academia, attending a protest or watching Twitch streams, yes, there are probably a whole array of genders, anywhere between 26 to 372, I would guesstimate. However, neither your gender studies professor nor that woke guy streaming Minecraft at 3 a.m. on Twitch and mumbling about transphobia determines human biological realities, nor do they issue passports. So, except in the profoundly rare occasions where a person has intersex characteristics caused by genetic variation, the human being is either male or female. There are no its. God didn't make its. He made male, he made female. Your chromosomal makeup is XX female or XY male. No matter what you may choose to do with this, you're born with sex organs that correspond to that chromosomal makeup. There are also physical variations between the two genders, something that's relevant in situations where, say, ascertaining an individual's identity is important. All of this is science, something we've been told, and not infrequently, may I add, by the Biden administration is very important. However, this apparently isn't the important kind of science, since the administration indicated this week it's open to throwing it all in the dustbin to fulfill a campaign promise. At a media briefing Monday this week on International Women's Day, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, Gender Policy Council Executive Director Jennifer Klein, and Gender Policy Council Co-Chairwoman Julissa Reynoso weren't necessarily willing to definitively back a proposal to put a third gender choice on federal identification documents, but this seemed more to do with the bureaucratic logistic than the science. Now, my question is, why would you even need a Gender Policy Council Executive Director? Or why would you need a co-chairwoman of Gender Policy Council? Why is that even important? But Biden is mulling executive order to give third gender options on federal IDs. Yeah. According to a White House transcript, the three were asked by a reporter whether President Biden would sign an executive order to allow a third gender option on federal government ID. Klein said, this is Jennifer Klein, the Gender Policy Council Executive Director, she said, I haven't looked yet to see whether that requires an executive order. I mean, I would note that we are very inclusive in our definition of gender, and we intend to address all sorts of discrimination and, fight for equal rights for people, whether that's LGBTQ plus people, women, girls. How many more letters are they going to add to this? LGBTQXYZ? I don't know. Men, Reynoso interjected. Men, Klein reiterated. So that's certainly something that we will look at, but I honestly don't know whether that requires an executive order. Because the American Civil Liberties Union is pushing for an executive order for this action, the reporter said. I was wondering if anything like that was under consideration at this time by President Biden. Press Secretary Psaki said before bringing the media briefing to a close, she said, quote, it sounds like we'll have to just look into it a little bit more and see what's required, but it's a good question. We'll have to circle back on that one. Well, I guess they're actually sending up trial balloons on that one. But can you imagine having a third choice on your birth certificate or your passport or your driver's license? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, take the diaper off the baby and find out if it's a male baby or female baby. It's not going to be written on there as an it. It's a male or a female. I mean, there's no arguing about that. Biologically, that's the way it is. Biblically, that's the way it is. There are no it's in there. It's a male or a female. Take the diaper off the baby and look and see and make it profound. Well, South Dakota wants to make women's sports for women only. Yay for them. On Monday, the South Dakota Senate voted 20 to 15 to make biology the determining factor for anyone seeking to play women's sports, according to the Grand Forks Herald, being reported by the Western Journal. Republican Governor Kristi Noem, who I really admire, tweeted that she would sign the bill when it reaches her. In South Dakota, we're celebrating International Women's Day by defending women's sports. I'm excited to sign this bill very soon, she tweeted. Although lawmakers were told that only one transgender competitor in the past 10 years has been approved by the South Dakota High School Activities Association to participate in women's sports, many said they want to preserve women's sports for those who are born female. And who these 15 people were that voted to allow men to compete with women, I don't know who they are, but they should be voted out quickly. Proponents of bills to limit women's sports to females have noted that transgender competitors have a physiological advantage. Republican Senator Maggie Sutton, who sponsored the bill, according to WGN-TV, says, "My heart breaks for future generations. The decision you make today will affect future generations. I'm asking you today to protect women's sports." Opponents said the bill reflects bias. So if you don't approve of men playing in women's sports and using their locker room, then you're biased. Jet Jonas, the advocacy manager for American Civil Liberties Union of South Dakota, said, quote, "It's about erasing and excluding trans people from participation in all aspects of public life." What they're trying to do, folks, is make transgenderism a common, everyday thing. When they know male and female is a common, everyday thing, but they're trying to make transgender a third option, a third choice. And if they pass a law like this, allowing it, then it'll be just as common in lives of some people never before. Republican Senator Erwin Tobin said, "I just want to stand and state some facts regarding biological males and females," then cited strength differences and other physical comparisons between the genders. Republican Jim Bolin noted that at the state track meet each spring, the height of the hurdles is always raised for men. Do they lower it now because a man has competed with women? And then the men compete in their race, so their track meet, and is higher than the women compete. They lower it because that's the way the strength and the endurance of men and women are. He called that simple act a clear illustration of the biological differences between males and females. The legislation requires that participants in girls' and women's sanctioned sports provide documentation to the state that shows their sex at birth and results of drug tests. So let's leave it at that and make it male and female. And I'm glad South Dakota's stepping forward and bold enough to say, if you're a man, you ain't going to play in the women's sports. Play with the men's sports. If you're a man, you ain't going in the locker room with the women. Go in the men's locker room. And if we had a president with a backbone, he'd say, we ain't putting a third choice on births. It's either male or it's a female. If we had a president with the backbone to do that, or a vice president with the backbone to do that. Well, former President Donald Trump's position against allowing transgender athletes to compete in women's sports has drawn wide-scale support in the latest poll from Politico and Morning Consult. The poll asked registered voters if they would support or oppose a ban on transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. Now, think about how this, you said, well, that's somewhere. Think about it. If something like this were to become mainstream, we got high school football, and all of a sudden the men want to play with the girls' team. They don't have a football team, but they want to play with the girls' soccer team, or they want to play with the girls' tennis team. The strength and endurance of the man's strength in his arm, maybe throw that ball a little harder, a little faster. Maybe he could endure a little longer than. Think about it, bring it on home a little closer. But anyway, the poll asked registered voters if they would support or oppose a ban on transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. 53% of all voters support a ban. 32% oppose the ban. Now, who are these 32%? Probably liberals, somewhere they've encountered. And so, no, we don't need a ban on keeping men out of women's sports. Let's let them all play together. Let's just hold hands and sing Kumbaya as we run through the finish line. 59% of men support a ban, 29 oppose. 46% of women support a ban, 34% oppose. 74% of Republicans support a ban, 15% oppose. 40% of Democrats support a ban, 42% oppose, almost 50-50. 43% of Generation Z support a ban, 44% oppose. 50% of baby boomers support a ban, 32% oppose. Trump said in his address at the 2021 Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, that women's sports will die if transgender athletes are allowed to compete. And he's right. It will. Joe Biden and the Democrats are even pushing policies that would destroy women's sports, Trump said, apparently referring to the Equality Act that recently passed the House. He went on to say a lot of new records have been broken in women's sports. Hate to say that, ladies, but got a lot of new records that are being shattered. Young girls and women are incensed that they are now being forced to compete against those who are biological males. It's not good for women. It's not good for women's sports, which worked for so long and so hard to get where they are today, and where the women's lib movement's at right now, saying that women ought to have their own category. Why been infiltrated by men? Where's the women's movement on this? What coach, as an example, wants to recruit a young woman to compete if her record can easily be broken by somebody who was born a male? If this does not change women's sports as we know it, will die. Not only Trump, but other conservatives who have also criticized the inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports include former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who accused Biden in an opinion piece last month of paving the way for a federal mandate that all schools receiving federal funding let biological males play on women's sports teams in the National Review. Trump said, I hear from mothers all the time who are getting up at the crack of dawn to take their daughters to swim practice or attending all weekend track meets. They do not want biological males competing on their daughters' teams. They know that it would be detrimental to their daughters' ability to achieve scholarships and recognition. And I don't understand even why the people in power would want that to happen. But neither do I understand why a man that has any backbone, why he would even want to compete with the girls. Why don't you go to your own team, your own biological team, and compete with them? If you can't make it there, then go home and find something else that you can do. But don't bring it over to the women's and, well, I'm good. Boy, look at me. I won that track meet. I run the women. If you're a man, be a man. If you're a woman, be a woman. Don't try to be both, because down home we would say that ain't going to work. 8:45 right now, and I'll be back in just a moment.
At Smith's Drugs of Forest City, we are currently awaiting the COVID-19 vaccinations for the public, and we are expecting to have them available soon. We will be using a waiting list in the meantime that you can find on our website at www.smithsdrugsfc.com to pre-register for the vaccine. Smith's Drugs will provide a link to our website from our Facebook page to pre-register as well. Be mindful of CDC and local government priorities and guidelines that Smith's Drugs will comply with when vaccinations do begin, starting with those on the waiting list. Smith's Drugs will contact you when the vaccinations become available. There will be no COVID-19 vaccinations for walk-ins. It is only through our waiting list for the foreseeable future. If you do not have access to the internet, you can come into Smith's Drugs and fill out the form, and you will be added to the wait list. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.smithsdrugsfc.com for all details, or please call us at 828-245-4591. Thank you.
If you won the new Millionaire Maker Scratch-Off, what kind of millionaire would you be? Are you the turns their backyard into a golf course millionaire? Or maybe the builds a matching mansion just for your dog millionaire? Good boy. Or the escapes to your private beach when life gets busy millionaire? Sweet. Millionaire Maker from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With 30 top prizes of $1 million, it could be your shot at becoming a millionaire. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
100.9 FM
590 AM WCAB Rutherfordton.
8:46 and just a few minutes away from right now. My Great America with Jim and Butch is on the air live from the Blue Room here at WCAB. You know, I've often heard it say that if you repeat a lie long enough, people will start believing it. But here's one of those lies that the White House is trying to pass on loud enough and long enough and often enough that people start believing it. Quote, America is stronger at home and around the world when it is inclusive. The military is no exception. And what they're talking about is the U.S. military, meaning you and me, taxpayers, pay for free transgender surgery for military. The Department of Defense has confirmed in recent memos that sex reassignment surgery could be provided free of cost as part of the military's medical benefits package, following President Joe Biden's January 25th executive order. This means no one will be separated or discharged or denied reenlistment solely based on their gender identity. Prospective recruits may serve in their self-identified gender when they have met the appropriate standards for accession into the military services. This revised policy will also ensure all medically necessary transition-related care authorized by law is available to all service members. This is written by Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Veterans Affairs Secretary Dennis McDough said the military would perform an assessment of the necessary steps to eliminate the exclusion of gender alteration, that is gender affirmation surgery, in the medical benefits package. So that'll be another thing to tap on to the veterans package, that you want to have mental sex change, and we're going to pay for it. Veterans Affairs Secretary wrote last month in a memo ordering a review of the department's policies and practices that, quote, every person at VA, whether a customer or member of VA's workforce, should be treated with respect and dignity. Our success as a team, our ability to deliver world-class care for our veterans, depends on our respect for our fellow VA employees and the veterans we serve, and is critical to everything we do. That part I agree with. But they want to stretch it over and say, oh, well, we got to add this other transgender thing. We got to make sure that they don't know what they are, and God made a mistake when he created them male and or female, so we got to make that transition and pay for it and accept them the fact that they don't know what they are. Representative Jim Banks, Republican from Indiana, an Iraq War veteran who says he supports transgender people serving in the military, told the Examiner, quote, this is radical and new territory for a presidential administration to force taxpayers to fund sexual reassignment surgeries for those in the military. I'm compassionate toward those individuals who want to undergo an elective surgery of this nature, but taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook to pay for it. It's constitutionally dubious that Congress hasn't passed these measures, but the administration in a radical way is pushing through this agenda. I said on the committee that should debate these issues. He says he's all for the transgenderism, but taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for it. The Pentagon first paid for gender reassignment surgery for a transgender soldier back in 2017 and has paid $8 million to treat 1,525 transgender troops between 2016 and 2019. Most of that cost covered psychological counseling. Wonder why they would need that, psychological counseling, because they had selective surgery to correct a mistake that God made. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Well, excuse me, all of history will soon be erased if we let the left get away with what they want to do. We let them have their way, all history will be erased. I'm glad one of the things I appreciate about Butch on My Great America with Jim and Butch, he brings forth history of our forefathers and what they had to say about America, what they had to say about our Constitution, what they had to say about our great America. Well, if history is going to be erased, it's going to be erased by these lefties if we let them have their way. Future generations will know nothing of America's past because of how sensitive some people have become. You notice that, how sensitive people are? With each passing day, something else seems to get canceled. What or who will be next? Disney Plus removed several movies, including Dumbo and Peter Pan, from children's profiles over stereotypes deemed offensive. Dumbo and Peter Pan. Now, what's offensive about Peter Pan? What's offensive about Dumbo? The move comes after Disney placed warnings on certain children's movies for negative depictions and or mistreatment of people and cultures. I want to know who sits somewhere in some building, some office, and say, oh, that offends me. So all of a sudden the press takes hold of it. The negative media takes over it. Oh, that's offensive. We need to get rid of it. Yes, let's cancel that. And these corporations, instead of standing firm, they don't want to make waves, so they look ahead. Well, that might offend somebody. Let's go ahead and take it off now, like Dr. Seuss's books. Children under age of 7 will now no longer be able to watch the movies, including Swiss Family Robinson and the Aristocats. Adults with Disney Plus accounts will still be able to watch the movies, but they're recommending that children under 7 not watch them. The Swiss Family Robinson living in a treehouse. That might be offensive. Who's going to be offended? The squirrels? Disney explained why the movies were pulled, saying in the case of Dumbo, the Crows and musical number pay homage to racist minstrel shows, where white performers with blackened faces and tattered clothing imitated and ridiculed enslaved Africans on southern plantations. The leader of the group in Dumbo is Jim Crow, which shares the name of laws that enforce racial segregation in the southern United States. If you didn't hear, Space Jam 2 will not feature Looney Tunes mainstay Pepe Le Pew because of something to do with rape and liberals being so flippin' offensive. What a time to be alive, huh? Wonder what's going to offend somebody next. Do we get offended because of a chocolate nut sundae? Do we get offended because of apple pie? Do we get offended because some folks put peanuts in the bottles of Coca-Cola? What's going to offend us next? Do we get offended over ham and eggs at breakfast? Somebody had to kill that pig to get that ham. What are we going to be offended with next? You know, it'd be nice if people would get offended about folks that defied the Constitution, be offended at folks who rallied against the opposite race. We don't need to be offended by that. We need to stop this council culture. One final note, and I've got to get out of here, but I found this, and I think this is good for those of us in our industry and our business. It came down from a feature, InsideRadio.com. It talked about the COVID last year and this year, how it's affected radio. Radio reaches more consumers with spending power, a study shows. And I'm going to hold that up to those of you watching online. Radio reaches more consumers with spending power than any other advertising media. Fresh research reinforces radio's resilience in reaching American consumers with spending power. Analysis of January 2021 Nielsen PPM data projected to the U.S. population shows 94% of 25 to 54 adults and 96% of 35 to 64 adults, both with household incomes of $75,000 or greater, have returned to listening to local AM/FM radio every week when compared to January 2020 pre-pandemic listening levels. So there you go, folks. Those of you in business that might be listening this morning concerned about where your advertising dollars should go. I've got the facts to back it up and got the personnel to call on you and let you know that we got a package for you. Hallelujah, amen. 55 minutes past 8 o'clock. I'm going to make room out of here and clear my voice and get ready for my Great America with Jim and Butch. And I'm sure Butch has got a lot of great things lined up for us to help us rejoice in the fact that we live in this America that we live in. So long, everybody. I'll see you back here in just a few minutes on My Great America with Jim and Butch.
The music's on us. WCAB
100.9 FM and 590 AM.
The best of both worlds.
This is WCAB Rutherfordton.
WCAB Rutherfordton.
and liens. Call Gilbert Carmona at 828-289-9300. All initial consultations are free. Call Gilbert, 828-289-9300.
Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. This afternoon, we'll see another sunny sky just like the past few days. Highs today warm in the mid to upper 70s. Partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight tonight, staying mild as we start right around 50 Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures back in the 70s once again. A cold front, though, arrives Friday evening, bringing a few small showers possible. Cooler temperatures expected for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Zach Mallock in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Zach. Sunny skies and 57 degrees where we are right now. 57 degrees, warming up into the 70s this morning. So get out as best you can. Enjoy this beautiful sun. Take a walk on the trail maybe. Walk by here, walk by the radio station, wave at us through the front door. Anything you could do to get a little exercise on a day like this would be fantastic. It's 9:06, and you know what time that is on Thursday?
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Live from the Blue Room. Good morning, Butch.
You have been very animated this morning, Jim.
I'll tell you, I love life.
You know, it comes through, and, you know, we make a choice. I loved it at our church. We're often reminded God's got a plan, the devil's got a plan, and we get to choose. And, you know, in like manner, every single day, we get to choose our attitude. Mm-hmm. You know, some of the most positive people I know are people that when you press beneath the obvious, they've got hardships that they're dealing with. People with chronic illnesses. I know somebody that deals, for example, with rheumatoid arthritis. It's very painful and debilitating, but you'd never know it. Mm-hmm. And they go through every single day doing what? Spreading cheer, life, love, and the power, in this case, the power of Jesus. And so we get to choose every day. And you don't need a beautiful day to have a great attitude.
Right.
Yeah, and you can tell people that have got that burning candle of God's hope inside of them because you're just drawn to them, aren't you?
I love people like that who have attitudes. That's what I always loved about Dr. Bob Crummy. They used to be on here every day. I'd say, "How you doing, Bob?" He said, "It's a beautiful day and I feel great." In spite of how he felt or what circumstances he might be going through, he had his own difficulties. He said, "It's a beautiful day and I feel great." In his mind, in his heart, it was going to be a great day.
And we are called to touch the world that we are in. And you know what? I said this to you many times before. I find that in the mornings, if I can be anchored in God's eternal word, Jim, and then we're encouraged at my church, get a song in your heart. Mm-hmm. And so again today, you know what the song in my heart was? Mm. You've heard me sing it before. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning, new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, O Lord. Great is thy faithfulness. You know, you're shaving, you're trying to wrangle that cowlick that you got to get fixed. Whatever is happening in the morning, you put a song in your heart and get God's word in your heart, and it just helps set your day. And so this morning, the scripture that God gave me was in Psalm 46. I noticed sometimes when I talk, you lean over and you're working the dials.
When you were singing, I had to turn the volume down.
Okay, I have no idea what you're doing there, Jim, but let's stay focused with each other here.
All right, gotcha.
Okay, so Psalm 46, verse 8. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has wrought desolations and wonders in the earth. He makes wars to cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow into pieces and snaps the spear in two. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know, recognize and understand that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold, our refuge, and our high tower. So if you're looking to a political party or a person to be that source of strength and life and encouragement, you're just not going to find it We disappoint each other. People disappoint each other. God's word is true. It's unshakable, never changing, and it's the pattern and the guide for our life. And I know you believe that too.
The difficulty I have with that verse of scripture that you read, difficulty for me, is the be still part.
Right.
I want to run ahead. I don't want to be still and wait.
Right.
I'm not a patient person, but be still and know that I am your God is what I have difficulty with in my life, is being an impatient person that I am.
Well, and you're also peripatetic. Remember, we talked about that last time. Constantly moving. But you know what, Jim? What I found in my life, and that was good. That was confessional. When we come into the light and acknowledge the things that we want God to change in us, you know, I'll just go ahead and acknowledge this. And by the way, I am working on my weight. I've lost a couple of pounds. I've got more to go. But one of the areas God continues to work on in my heart, in my life, is making sure I'm staying in my heart and not my head. You know, the Spirit of the living God is speaking to us here, you know, and if we start out here with solutions or scenarios, we can be certain we're cutting off the voice of God, which we never want to do. Now, I want to talk real quickly. You mentioned it earlier. This was so great to see this article in the paper. GOP taps 26-year-old as chairman. Bryson Smith, he's a dear friend.
Yes.
And what I love is you've got 5 generations. You know, you got a family from Golden Valley, a working family. I've seen pictures of him. He pours concrete with his dad. This is not a career politician.
Yeah,
this is somebody who knows the hard work and rigors of that. But, you know, there's a sweet little story. I won't go into all the details, but there was a little calf that was going to die. And someone who's a friend rescued that calf, but Bryson participated because it came off their farm, and that calf that was supposed to die, I think the mother was not nurturing it, is now alive and running free with the herds out there, and so he's even been involved in animal rescue.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are Democrats will like that.
Good family. Good. I love that family.
Wonderful family, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of positive new direction in the days ahead, and I think one of the things you're going to see is that Republican Party headquarters downtown is going to become more and more of a center and incubator of new county encouraging ideas. I know his vision is that, so we all want to rally behind him. And I was thinking to myself, I believe this is true. I don't know its truth for sure, so we'll validate it. But, you know, we've got a 25-year-old congressman and a 26-year-old head of the GOP. That's probably the only county in North Carolina that has both of those things.
I think you're right. We'd have to validate that for sure, but I think you're right. I don't know of any other county that has a congressman that young.
Well, and you know what's great? We're not to despise youth. We say that in scriptures. And you know what, Jim? Your cough is a wonderful segue to something I was going to talk about. You know, I love going over to small town coffee roasters, and Monty there, the owner, is a dear friend. Great place to go. But you know, and this is not a paid endorsement, but one of the things that I've been studying is just the positive medicinal impacts of elderberry syrup.
Sure.
It's all natural. They sell it over there. So I felt like it would be good to make a little investment here at WCAB because you've got a little dry cough, maybe some post-nasal drip. And this elderberry syrup is really good. And it's Darby Farms. And, you know, you're coughing on cue. But,
maybe I could drink the whole bottle.
No, that would be excess and that would be sin. So we're not going to do that. But in any event, you were telling me this is also featured in some other places.
Yeah, Medicine Box of Rutherford carries this. That's where I first learned about it from them. And elderberry, honey, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves are the ingredients in this syrup. And it really does the job. If you take I think it's a spoonful, maybe, and it knocks out that cough.
Well, it's so interesting. And Darby Farms is here in Union Mills. They've got 50 acres. But what's so interesting is they're planning to raise 3,000 laying hens, 200 laying ducks, 200 turkey, 50 pigs, 20 head of sheep, a few head of cattle, and plant more elder plants, black walnut, black locust, blueberry, chestnut, and more right here in Rutherford County. And I love things like that.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
Okay, Jim, moan back. And I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help over here at WCAB. Everybody be healthy too. You know what I notice is the snack box that I brought. Yeah, you know what I notice?
It's empty.
No, the snacks are not empty. The two remaining things are purely Elizabeth superfoods, which is the oatmeal. So everybody liked the snacks and the candy bars, but the oatmeal is orphaned in the box back there, Jim. We need to.
I'll eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, and you know what? A team always follows the leader. Okay. So if they see you eating this, it's going to be helpful.
Well, they'll have to come in early in the morning.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give that to you and have that over there as well. And then I've got one more thing. It's a day where I'm bringing some gifts. Pat Joe, I'm a firm believer that we always want to keep dialogue open, and we want to bring Jesus to every setting that we're in. The verse in 1 Peter that talks about that. We need to be prepared to give a defense for why we believe what we believe. So one of the people that I meet with regularly is Pat Jobe. I'll see him next week. Also R.J. Aiken with his mentoring program here locally. But he gave me a magnetic strip that I thought maybe if you're, because you're the leader here, if you're open to it, we could put this on the refrigerator there in the back. Pat Jobe gave this to me, and I thought it was so good. May I give it to you? And you can share.
Being right is such a little thing.
I thought that was so good.
That's good.
Yeah, and you know what? I've often told people that I'd rather be righteous. We need to be righteous more than right. And not every hill, I think with age, I've been learning this. I've not completely learned it. Not every hill is worth dying on, right?
That's right.
Right.
Where did I read that before?
I'm not sure. It wasn't Teddy Roosevelt because he was always charging up the hill. But in any event, we need to be led by Jesus. That is the truth that should guide everything. We need to be led and not driven. And I've known some people that are so eager to get in, Jim, to get into an argument. You can almost sense it when you're with them. It's like they want to be stirred. And that spirit of consternation, that spirit of agitation, that spirit of defensiveness, that is not a spirit that comes from God. It says in Scripture, God's not the author of confusion. If you're in the middle of chaos and confusion all the time, you can be certain that is not a fire that's been set by God.
That's right. It's not God's will.
Right. And what do you do with people like that when you encounter them?
Well, personally, I try my best to cut the conversation short. I don't like to surround myself with people who are negative.
Right.
Who defy logic, who defy the Constitution, who defy the biblical aspects of what living for Christ is all about. I spend as little time with them as possible, unless I have an opportunity to witness to them or talk with them positively. But I don't want to fill my mind and my heart with negativity.
Well, and you know, one of the scriptures that is so powerful is the scripture that says that bad company corrupts good character. And also a little leaven spoils the whole loaf. You can I found myself a number of times through the years, I'll be around a person who's not of the right spirit, and it's not neutral. You know, that's why when I go into settings, I know it's somebody that is diametrically opposed to the gospel, or somebody that wants to reframe American history, or somebody that wants to, you know, promote, for example, certain lifestyles that we know biblically are not healthy or not right and not consistent with God's plan. It's not that we don't engage in discussions. We need to go to Acts chapter 16 and 17 and remember again the Apostle Paul on the Areopagus, Mars Hill, where he gave a defense for the gospel. Well, he was giving it to people that had hungry hearts, and he knew enough about their worldview that the gospel became powerful. People will never learn if they don't know that they're loved. And you can't reflect love for people unless you're willing to put on the hip waders and get into the muddy river sometimes, right?
Be in the world but not of the world.
Right. That's exact. You mentioned that to me recently, and that's the calling that we have. We need to go into the world with the light and the love of the gospel. We need to go into politics with the same thing and not be corrupted by all the things that are around us. So it's so easy to be pulled off track, and that's why we need the accountability of relationship with each other, Jim.
Going into politics because we want to make things better is good, and because sometimes God calls us into that field. But going into politics, what I can get for myself personally, is the wrong reason to go. We got to go because we feel like we can better understand the Constitution and lead forward in that direction, not because what's in it for me? What can I get out of it? What priority can I set for myself? That's not the reason to get into politics.
That's exactly right. And it used to be in the early days of our country, at its founding, at the bedrock, you had these citizen representatives. You know, they were people that knew they weren't building a career in politics, and it's really, really muddied the waters to have people who purpose in their hearts, you know what, I just want to become a politician. That's my aspiration. You know, I've had people, as I've talked to them in the county, that tell me that they like the stories of miracles in our American history, and I had a couple more that I wanted to share here. That's
sure. Before we do it, may I say something?
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to the. I wish I would remember his name, but didn't. Let's get it. But the man who's listening to us online every Tuesday and Thursday, I believe it's from Burlington.
Yes, he's an attorney.
He called the other day and said how much he enjoyed the program, and I wish he would call back when you're here so he maybe chat with you a minute. But he said I listen every Tuesday and Thursday. I love the program, and he's an attorney. I believe it's Burlington.
Yeah.
Tracy took the call, and we were on the air at the time, I believe. But maybe he'll call back and talk with you.
Well, and you know what? Let me also say this: Jim and I felt inspired for this program to be launched, and we've been sort of building the wagon while we're driving it, and we've been fixing the engines while we're flying the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing pretentious about any of this. But in the days ahead, would you just commit this to prayer and encouragement? We're looking at a number of things that we want to be able to do. We have people that listen that want to be able to go back to archive programs easily. We need to be much more engaged in social media in a positive way, which we're planning to do. You know, we're looking at a little website, so be in prayer and encouragement. Our only passion is to bring hope, light, and love to the community in the name of Jesus, and also be an interpreter of our history and current events in a way where we're not screaming at the darkness, but we're trying to light the candle of encouragement for a county that we really believe is going to turn around. I'm telling you, we don't put faith in new leadership in the GOP or any political party, but I really believe we're going to see some unbelievably positive things around Bryson Smith's leadership, and it's going to be a pleasure to try to encourage him quietly.
Look forward to it.
From behind the scenes. Well, Jim, you know, we were talking about the War of 1812, and by the way, when you were talking about people who listen, I know people that are infirmed. Got a dear friend Hari who listens, I'm told, every Tuesday and Thursday, and there are others who will go unnamed. But I just love knowing that we can be encouragement to people on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, you know, I had some people that said to me, I never really studied about the War of 1812, and it kind of gets lost in the noise of other greater wars, if you will, but there's some tremendous miracles God did there. We talked before about the miracle of Washington, D.C. Listen to a second miracle that was in the War of 1812. So it was the Battle of New Orleans miracle. While Great Britain was willing to sign a peace treaty in 1815, they were taking months to negotiate the terms, hoping that an unexpected win on their end would grant them a last-minute victory. So they were stalling the Americans, who had very few resources for that stalling. While exchanging formalities with American ambassadors in Europe, the British were sailing 8,000 battle-hardened veterans through the Gulf of Mexico to attack the Americans in New Orleans. So they're negotiating a peace settlement, and they were sending 8,000 troops to try to get a last-minute victory in the war. Hearing news of their sneak attack, General Andrew Jackson quickly rallied the city to the defense. The 4,500 Americans, about half as many as the British that were coming, were a group that relished working together, but their attitude, a group that relished, were not typically a group that relished working together. They didn't believe in unity. Why? Well, because they knew that as a group they came from different backgrounds. You had people that were laborers, you had people that were slaves, you had a whole mixed bag of folks. But what happened is General Jackson, while recovering from wounds of 2 bullet holes in his left arm, got up and said, "It's now or never. We've all got to come together. We can't have differences." That's what the Republican Party here locally needs to do. In just 30 minutes, there were 2,000 British casualties with only 100 American losses. President James Madison proclaimed, "History records no example of so glorious a victory obtained with so little bloodshed on the part of the victorious. Who did that? God. God. God's hand has been on this nation since the very beginning. And Jim, as a closing, I want to give one more, if that's
Sure,
okay,
please.
because I know people find this very, and this is going to be around Apollo 13. You know, people talk about, oh, that was a great movie or whatever, but you know what was behind all of this? Listen to this. This is so interesting. There was a gentleman named Woodville, and he said, I looked at the alarm system. He was with NASA. I looked at the alarm system. Lights were flickering everywhere. He said that over the next few anxious days, he witnessed a series of miracles unfold at Johnson Space Center and around the world. Congress had an edict that people around the country and in churches pray for the safe return of the astronauts. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a congressional edict. The Pope prayed. They prayed at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Prayer groups in churches throughout the land that week prayed. Woodville, who was then 27, noted that one of the first miracles he witnessed resulted from the prayers of Merlin Merritt, a flight controller who was also working on the evening of April 13th. Merlin prayed, Lord, this is with all the NASA people there, he prayed out loud, Lord, don't let us do anything by the fact that we are ignorant of what's going on that will take their lives rather than save their lives. He prayed that. He explained that at the time of the explosion, the crew thought a meteor had hit the Eagle, or lunar lander, and attempted to seal the hatch to the lunar lander. They didn't know they were going to need that as their lifeboat. But the doors wouldn't close. However, later, when the hatch had to work to allow the astronauts to separate the lander from the Columbia, the hatch worked perfectly. Merlin's prayer was answered to keep the hatch open, to keep the route open as a way of escape. But the problems were only beginning on that late April night, and Woodville said the miracles were only just beginning. When the astronauts Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert were returning to Earth, more problems arose. According to Woodville, the hurricane developing near the Pacific Ocean landing site, the gyros, which controlled the accuracy of the landing, did not have enough time to warm up, and the vessel was drifting in an unusual manner. The retro officer or staff member who determined the landing sites was encouraged to alter his plans for the crew landing. They said, it's not going to land there, so let's change everything. But he said, I don't know why that wind is there, but I believe it's going to stop. I don't know if the gyros are going to make it, but I believe they're going to be accurate. I don't know where the storm is going, but I believe the weatherman is wrong, and I'm bringing Apollo 13 down where I always intended. He added that years after the successful landing, he received a letter from a school teacher in the eastern United States. He said that the teacher wrote she had a class of 14 students. One of the students came into her class and said that even if the astronauts could land, they would land in a hurricane and they were all going to die. She said the 14 faces looked up at her, wanting her to say something, to say anything. He said that she recounted a biblical story of the storm on the Sea of Galilee to the students. She said, kids, those astronauts are not alone. They've got help. God's only son. And what he did 2,000 years ago to stop the storm and move it away, he can do for Apollo 13 astronauts today, and he responds to prayer. And she said she saw 14 little children bow their heads and pray. As Apollo 13 approached Earth, the wind stopped, the storm shifted. However, when the crew entered the Earth's upper atmosphere, they experienced a planned blackout, loss of radio contact. Woodville said that during the mission, there was a longer blackout than expected. And it goes on and on and on. Miracle after miracle after miracle, Jim. And you know what? Whatever the situation is that people are facing today, you may have a bad cancer diagnosis. You may have a marriage that's falling apart. You may have a business that's not going to survive this, even as we come out of this COVID pandemic. You may be somebody that struggles with depression. You may be somebody that doesn't believe that God speaks to you anymore. You may be lost. You may be lonely. You may be wandering. And what I'm here to say again, and I know it's your heart as well, is that the living God will meet you in that place when you cry out with the authenticity and the authority of a humble heart that wants restoration. And our history is just replete with so many examples of the fingerprints of God on our nation, and he will be there again, but not if we're arrogant, not if we're prideful, not if we come up with our own solutions. We've got to yield to the divine solutions that are the only way we're going to see the light, the hope, and the health that we need in the days ahead. That's my little sermon for today.
Absolutely. And I'm just thankful we serve a God of a second chance.
Right.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Look forward to seeing you next week. Hope you have a great weekend.
I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and wherever you worship well and with your whole heart.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. This afternoon, we'll see another sunny sky just like the